Hey Krafty Friends, this is Jen from Katahdin Krafts and welcome back to the CottageCutz YouTube channel today. Before we get into this week's project, I want to announce the winner from my last video. It is Martha Williams. Congratulations, Martha. You have won this Strawberry Cottage die. I will have all the information linked below for you to collect that. And for your opportunity to win this baseball phrase with shadow die, you just have to like my video and comment below. We'll announce the winner of that die next week when I come out with my next project. All right, now moving on, I did something different this week and I'm really excited. I made this cute 8x8 scrapbook page. Now, I absolutely love to scrapbook, but I have gotten way behind in all of my scrapbooking. And when I saw this baseball and golf release, I thought immediately of all the baseball and softball and even golf that happens with my children, and I thought that this would be a great way to get back into the scrapbooking. Plus, it shows you how diversified these dies really are, that they're just not limited to cards, that they could be used on several different projects that you have going on, such as scrapbooking. To start my project, I cut out several different colors in the baseball batter silhouettes, the baseball phrase with shadow, the baseball glove, bat, and ball. I'm using the school colors here, which are black, red, and white, and I also wanted to add in some of those browns with that glove and the bat. Now I'm going to start my base page at an 8x8 black cardstock. And in my stash, I had this cute baseball paper, and I cut that in 7.5 by 7.5 for a perfect frame on that. And then I printed out several photos of my son in a fun game that they did at this school with the alumni of the high school. Now, as you can see, I knew I was going to go with that larger photo, so I went ahead and framed that with the black. And now I'm just going to play around with some of these smaller photos to see which one I liked best for the composition. And I did want to show some movement and some action, so I chose that smaller one with him making that catch there on first base. And I'm going to show how I do my framing of photos. First of all, I did use a tape gun and it didn't quite get the seal at the top that I wanted, so I'm just going to show you how I use my precision glue and got in that space, and I'm just going to push that down with a clean piece of paper or an index card. And now I'm going to frame this for you so you can see again my method. Other people do it differently. I don't like to measure. That doesn't make me happy at all. So I'm going to go ahead and add some liquid glue, which gives it a little bit of wiggle room, and I'm going to frame those two sides just like that, and again use that little index card. And now I'm just going to trim that out with my guillotine trimmer. You can use any trimmer that you have. I go a little bit wider than expected, so that way I can trim it off a little bit at a time if need be. And that's it. That's how I do my quick photo frames, so I'm not driving myself completely batty trying to get that completely perfect, because you know what, it's homemade and it doesn't have to be perfect. So now with all of the choices I gave myself with the die cuts, I can go ahead and play around and see what color choices I think work best. And as you can see, I'm going to use that darker glove color. I like the way that the red really pops up off that black background, and I love the detail of the little baseball being off on the side. That just adds so much more interest to that die cut. Again, it's all about the details that they add into these. They are amazing. And then I matched up the ball with the glove, and it does have a little circle that goes behind it, and that is to make the stitches show up. So I'm going to take a Copic marker and I'm going to color that a little bit later before I add those together. And now I'm just going to make sure that I did make the color selections that I wanted. And I like the way that the black is on the back, and because it coordinates really well with that frame in my mind. So now I'm going to take that Copic marker and just color that back circle in, and I could have cut that out in red as well, so either way it would have worked to back up that ball and have those stitches pop right off the page. And now time to put all of this together, and I like to use a really fine tipped glue. You can see that this is a precision tipped glue bottle, and that helps with all these fine details of these die cuts. And I'm just going to make sure I hit all of those little spots, and then I'm going to press that down. And again, you can also see that I'm using my tweezers. Those are helpful tools when you're working with really delicate die cuts like this. And I'm going to just push that down with my little index card. I find those really handy, and then I write notes on them if I have to. So I get a lot of use out of that one little index card. Okay, once I have that baseball with shadow all set to go, I have to just assemble my little ball with that background, and I'm going to add this ball right to the glove. I didn't want that to get lost in the shuffle of all the balls on that pattern paper. So that was a good way to showcase that little die. And now the only thing I have left is to add all my dies, or to adhere all my dies to my page. And I must tell you that I really enjoyed this project. It was very refreshing for me to come back to the whole scrapbook world and do this, and I can foresee myself doing several other pages, even of just this game. This game had so many wonderful pictures, and total shout out photo credit to my friend Beth that took these photos of this game that I'm using today. Okay, now with that project done, I wanted to talk about the project that I did on the blog on Sunday. I made a softball card with the same release, the baseball and golf. I just cut out those baseballs with yellow and made them into softballs. I did my background, as you could see, with that star stencil. I used barn door and black soot distressed ink. Again, I'm using those school colors. And the dies that I used for this are the baseball glove, bat, and ball again, and I just used that ball. And then I'm using the baseball, but we made it into a softball, which was very simple with cutting that out into that bright yellow color and then those detailed stitchings. And then I love this all-star die cut, but I wanted to back it up with those school colors so it wouldn't get lost in the stars in the background. And so I just wanted to show how I put it onto the black cardstock, and then I just fussy cut around those edges, just like that. Very simple. I kind of tuck the blade of my scissors under that little ridge of the die, and that helped guide my scissors in order to cut that out. And as you can see, I used some foam dots to pop that softball up off the card to give that some dimension. We could always put that little all-star inside the card, but I left it blank so we can leave a message. And that concludes my 2 projects for this week. One was on the blog on Sunday, and you will see the baseball page on there today. Make sure you check out our blog. There's lots of inspiration. And of course, if you like and comment, you have the opportunity to win the baseball with shadow die this week. Thank you so much for crafting with me again today. I really appreciate it. I hope you are inspired to pull out those photos and die cuts and start doing some scrapbooking of your own. Thank you, and happy crafting.